The massive Catamaran battleship Eternal Dominion slid through the void like a predator stalking its prey. Its hull, black as the space between stars, stretched nearly 10 kilometers from bow to stern. Admiral Zixthara stood on the bridge, her forearms crossed behind her crystalline back, watching the blue-green world grow larger on the main display. "Another primitive world," she muttered, her voice carrying the authority of someone who had conquered 100 systems. "Scans show they haven't even left their own solar system properly. This should be easy." Commander Velkoth, her second-in-command, approached with measured steps. His insectoid features clicked with what humans might recognize as concern. "Admiral, the initial scans are unusual." "Define unusual, Commander." "They appear to be in a constant state of warfare. Not just small conflicts, but massive coordinated battles involving millions of their kind. The energy signatures suggest weapons of remarkable efficiency for such a primitive species." Admiral Zixthara's 6 eyes narrowed. In her 3 centuries of conquest, she had learned that underestimating any species was a fatal mistake. Still, these creatures had barely mastered spaceflight. How dangerous could they truly be? "Show me," she commanded. The main screen shifted to display Earth's surface. What they saw made the bridge fall silent. Across every continent, the heat signatures of massive conflicts blazed like angry stars. Cities burned while others rose from ashes. Vehicles moved in perfect formation across devastated landscapes. Ships carved through oceans while aircraft darkened the skies. "By the void," whispered Navigator Kixmol. "They're fighting everywhere. How many wars are they waging simultaneously?" "Our computers count at least 47 major conflicts currently active," Velkoth reported, his mandibles clicking nervously. "And that's just what we can detect from orbit." Admiral Zixthara felt a chill run through her exoskeleton. In all her conquests, she had never seen anything like this. Most species fought for resources, territory, or survival, but this planet seemed to exist purely for war. "Prepare a landing party," she ordered. "We need to understand what we're dealing with before we proceed with standard invasion protocols." Down on Earth's surface, in a small town in what humans called Kansas, 17-year-old Jake Morrison was doing what he did every day after school, playing Call of Duty with his friends online. "Jake, you're getting destroyed out there," laughed his best friend Marcus through the headset. "What's wrong with you today?" Jake respawned and immediately dove back into the virtual battlefield. "Just tired, I guess. Been grinding all night on that new Battle Royale mode." What Jake didn't know was that thousands of miles above him, alien sensors were recording every simulated bullet fired, every strategic decision made, every perfectly executed team coordination. To the Catamaran observers, it looked like intensive military training. "Admiral," Velkoth reported, his voice tight with growing alarm. "We're detecting massive training facilities across the planet. Millions of their young are undergoing what appears to be advanced combat simulation." On the screen, they watched as Jake's character threw a grenade with mathematical precision, calculating trajectory and timing in a split second. His team moved, with practiced coordination, communicating in rapid coded language that the alien translators struggled to process. "Tango down, northwest building, 2nd floor. Roger that, pushing through smoke. Sniper on the roof, needs immediate suppression." To alien ears, it sounded like a military operation. Admiral Zixthara watched a young human female execute a perfect flanking maneuver while simultaneously directing her team's advance. The tactical awareness displayed was remarkable for someone who appeared to be barely mature by human standards. "Commander, how many of these training facilities are active?" "Approximately 2 billion individuals are engaged in combat simulation at any given moment, Admiral. The number fluctuates, but it never drops below 1 billion. The Admiral's primary heart began beating faster. 2 billion soldiers in constant training? The Kethmoran Empire's entire military force numbered only 50 million across all conquered worlds. "Continue monitoring. I want to understand their command structure." But as they watched, they realized there was no single command structure. These humans seemed to organize spontaneously into fighting units, adapt to any situation, and display tactical creativity that surpassed even the Empire's elite forces. On Earth, Jake was having the game of his life. He'd just pulled off an impossible comeback, turning a 1v4 situation into a victory through pure skill and quick thinking. "Dude," Marcus shouted, "how did you even do that? You took out their entire squad." Jake grinned, not knowing that his every move was being analyzed by an alien intelligence that was beginning to realize it might have made a terrible mistake. Admiral Zixathera stared at the display, watching millions of humans hone their combat skills with a dedication that bordered on obsession. They fought in every conceivable environment: urban warfare, jungle combat, desert operations, Arctic survival, aerial dogfights, naval battles, and even space combat scenarios. "Admiral," Velkoth's voice was barely a whisper, "I'm beginning to think we may have encountered something unprecedented." "Explain." "This isn't a civilization, Admiral. It's a weapons factory. They're not just training soldiers, they're mass-producing them. Every single day, millions of their young become more proficient at warfare. They compete with each other, constantly improving, constantly evolving their tactics." The Admiral turned from the screen to face her bridge crew. She could see fear in their compound eyes, smell the anxiety pheromones in the recycled air. "Recommendations, Commander?" "We withdraw. Immediately. Mark this system as forbidden space and warn the Empire to avoid it at all costs." But Admiral Zixathera had not conquered 47 worlds by running from a fight. "Negative. We proceed with reconnaissance. I want to know everything about these humans before we make any decisions." Little did she know that her reconnaissance would reveal something far more terrifying than a planet of warriors. She was about to discover that humans didn't just train for war. They had turned war itself into entertainment. Chapter 2. The Entertainment. Industry 3 days after the Eternal Dominion. Entered Earth's solar system, the Kethmoran observation team had compiled what they believed to be the most comprehensive threat assessment in the Empire's history. Commander Velkoth stood before Admiral Zixathera in her private chambers, holding a datapad that contained information that would change everything. "Admiral, we've completed our analysis of the human war machine, and I must respectfully request that we abort this mission immediately." Admiral Zixathera set down her ceremonial war chalice and fixed all 6 eyes on her subordinate. "Present your findings, Commander." "The humans have weaponized entertainment itself," Velkoth began, his voice trembling. "What we initially thought were training facilities are actually recreational activities. They engage in combat simulation." "For pleasure, Admiral." "For pleasure." The Admiral's exoskeleton clicked as she shifted in her chair. "Impossible. No species fights for entertainment." "With respect, Admiral, we were wrong. Observe." The room's holographic projector activated, showing a massive stadium filled with screaming humans. In the center, 2 fighters engaged in brutal hand-to-hand combat while thousands watched and cheered. "This is what they call mixed martial arts," Velkoth explained. "Unarmed combat between individuals, conducted for the entertainment of spectators. But this is just the beginning." The image shifted to show Jake Morrison still in his bedroom in Kansas, but now the alien sensors were providing full translation and context. Jake wasn't alone. He was competing in an online tournament with a prize pool of $50,000. "The human juvenile we've been monitoring is participating in what they call an esports tournament," Velkoth continued. "Millions of humans compete in simulated warfare for monetary rewards and social status. The most skilled warriors become celebrities, Admiral. They're worshipped like generals." Admiral Zixathera watched Jake execute a complex series of tactical decisions in real time, coordinating with teammates across the globe while thousands of spectators watched online, cheering his every move. "Show me more," she commanded. The hologram shifted to display a massive convention center packed with humans of all ages. The sign above the entrance read, "Comic-Con." Inside, humans dressed as warriors from countless fictional conflicts, carrying replica weapons that the Kethmoran sensors initially registered as authentic armaments. They create fictional wars, Admiral, and then celebrate them. They gather in massive numbers to honor imaginary battles and warriors that never existed. The display showed humans in elaborate costumes, space marines with impossible armor, fantasy knights with gleaming swords, futuristic soldiers with weapons that shouldn't exist. But what truly unnerved the Admiral was the attention to detail. Every piece of equipment was crafted with the precision of actual military hardware. They spend enormous resources creating realistic depictions of warfare that exists only in their imagination, Velkoth reported. And then they gather to admire and discuss the tactical implications of battles that never happened. Admiral Zixthara stood and walked to the view screen showing Earth. The blue-green world looked so peaceful from space, but she now understood it was anything but. Continue your report, Commander. The humans have created an entire economic system around warfare, Admiral. They produce visual entertainment depicting massive battles, strategic campaigns, and individual heroism. Billions of them consume this content regularly. The holographic display showed scenes from human movies, massive space battles, medieval sieges, modern military operations, futuristic conflicts, and wars between species that existed only in human imagination. Their creativity in depicting violence is unprecedented, Admiral. They imagine conflicts on scales we've never encountered. Wars spanning galaxies, battles between gods, individual warriors defeating entire armies. Admiral Zixthara watched, a scene from a human film where a single soldier fought through hordes of enemies with strategic brilliance and combat skills that surpassed anything in the Kethmaran military archives. Most disturbing of all, Admiral, they use these fictional depictions to inspire real-world tactics. Their entertainment directly feeds their military development. The display showed human military leaders studying films and games to develop new strategies. Fiction became reality as entertainment-inspired technologies made their way into actual military applications. Admiral, Velkoth said, his voice barely above a whisper, I believe we've discovered something truly terrifying. This isn't just a warrior species. This is a species that has made warfare into the foundation of their culture, their entertainment, their dreams, and their aspirations. But Admiral Zixthara was studying something else on the display. Commander, show me their historical records. The hologram shifted to display Earth's timeline. Thousands of years of continuous warfare, technological advancement driven by military necessity, and conflicts that shaped the development of human civilization. By the void, she whispered. They've been doing this for millennia. Indeed, Admiral. While most species develop technology for exploration, resource gathering, or communication, humans develop technology primarily for more efficient warfare. Every major advancement in their history has military applications. The Admiral watched, as the timeline showed human progression from simple clubs to nuclear weapons in just a few thousand years. But what caught her attention was the acceleration. The pace of military innovation was increasing exponentially. Commander, project their technological development forward 100 years. The hologram's AI processed the request, analyzing human innovation patterns and extrapolating future capabilities. What it showed made Admiral Zixthara's blood freeze in her veins. Within 50 years, humans would possess weapons that could threaten the entire Kethmaran Empire. Within 100 years, they would have technology that could reshape galaxies. Admiral, Velkoth said, reading the same projections. If we attack them now, we might delay this development. It could be our only chance. But Admiral Zixthara was thinking about something else entirely. She was thinking about what would happen if a species that turned warfare into entertainment ever decided to leave their home planet. Commander, show me their space program. The display revealed humanity's plans for Mars colonization, asteroid mining, and deep space exploration. But as Admiral Zixthara studied the details, she realized something that made her four hearts skip beats simultaneously. Every human space mission had military implications. Every exploration vessel could be converted to a warship. Every colonization plan included defense strategies against threats they had never encountered. They're not just preparing to leave their world, Commander. They're preparing to export their war culture to the galaxy. And that's when Admiral Zixthara realized the terrible truth. Earth wasn't just a planet full of warriors. It was a launching pad for the most dangerous military force the galaxy had ever seen. Chapter 3. The Terrible Truth. Admiral Zixithara stood in the observation deck of the Eternal Dominion, staring at Earth with new understanding. Behind her, the senior staff had gathered for what she knew would be the most important briefing in Kethmaran history. "Gentlemen," she began, her voice carrying a weight that made the assembled officers straighten. "We are not dealing with a primitive world. We have discovered the most dangerous military force in the known galaxy, and they don't even know it yet." Commander Velkoth activated the holographic display system. "Show them everything," the Admiral ordered. The first image showed Jake Morrison still at his computer in Kansas, but now they could see the full scope of what he represented. The display zoomed out to show his neighborhood, then his city, then his country, then the entire planet. "Every red dot you see represents an active combat simulator," Velkoth explained. "Every blue dot represents a human engaged in strategic planning exercises they call strategy games. Every green dot represents what they call educational warfare, studying historical battles for entertainment." The planet looked like a Christmas tree, blazing with millions of colored lights. "At this moment," Admiral Zixithara continued, "approximately 2.3 billion humans are engaged in some form of combat training or strategic warfare simulation. Not because they're preparing for war, because they enjoy it." Navigation Officer Kixmol raised a trembling appendage. "Admiral, surely this is unsustainable. No species can maintain that level of military focus without collapsing economically." "That's what we thought," the Admiral replied. "Show them the economic analysis." The display shifted to show Earth's global economy. The gaming industry alone was worth hundreds of billions of dollars. The entertainment industry, featuring warfare and conflict, generated trillions. Military contractors, weapon manufacturers, and defense spending represented the largest sectors of human economy. They've created a self-sustaining war economy, but without the destruction, Admiral Zixithara explained. They generate massive wealth by simulating conflict, then reinvest that wealth into creating more sophisticated simulations. It's a positive feedback loop that's been accelerating for decades. But the truly terrifying revelation came next. "Show them the leadership analysis," the Admiral commanded. The hologram displayed the faces of Earth's most influential leaders, but they weren't politicians or generals. They were gamers, streamers, and content creators who commanded the attention of millions. "The human we've been monitoring, Jake Morrison, has 2.3 million followers who watch him engage in combat simulation," Velkoth reported. "His tactical decisions influence the strategic thinking of millions of other humans, and he's just one of thousands of such leaders." Admiral Zixithara pointed to the display. "These humans have created a distributed command structure unlike anything we've ever encountered. No single point of failure, no centralized leadership to eliminate. Instead, they have millions of tactical innovators constantly developing new strategies and sharing them instantly across their entire population." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. "But Admiral," ventured Chief Science Officer Morgeth, "surely their simulations can't match real combat experience. Our forces have actual battlefield experience across dozens of worlds." Admiral Zixithara smiled grimly. "Show them the complexity analysis." The display revealed the mathematical models that governed human video games. The physics engines, ballistics calculations, environmental factors, and tactical variables were more sophisticated than the systems used by Kethmoran military academies. "Their entertainment simulations are more realistic than our training programs," she said quietly. "A human child playing these games for entertainment develops better tactical instincts than our career soldiers." The bridge crew exchanged horrified glances. "There's more," Admiral Zixithara continued. "Show them the creativity index." The hologram displayed thousands of human-created scenarios, zombie apocalypses requiring resource management and tactical coordination, alien invasions demanding adaptive strategies, fantasy battles involving magic and technology, futuristic conflicts with weapons that didn't exist yet. "They don't just train for conventional warfare," the Admiral explained. "They imagine every possible form of conflict and develop strategies for scenarios we've never considered." They've prepared for battles against enemies that exist only in their imagination, including species very much like us. Commander Velkoth stepped forward. Admiral, we've analyzed their science fiction entertainment. They've created detailed tactical manuals for fighting crystalline species, insectoid, races, energy beings, and artificial intelligences. They've imagined our weaknesses before they knew we existed. The display showed scenes from human movies and games, heroes defeating alien empires through clever tactics, small human forces overcoming technologically superior enemies, individual, humans inspiring massive resistance movements. They've been training to fight us for decades, Admiral Zixthera said. Not us specifically, but species exactly like us. Science Officer Morgeth's compound eyes widened. Admiral, are you suggesting they somehow knew we were coming? No, the Admiral replied. I'm suggesting something far worse. They've prepared for every possible threat because they assume the universe is hostile. They've turned paranoia into entertainment and entertainment into preparation. The hologram shifted to show Earth's military spending, technological development, and strategic planning. But overlaid on top of it was the entertainment industry's parallel development of military technologies, tactical innovations, and strategic concepts. Their entertainment industry and their actual military are essentially the same thing, Admiral Zixthera explained. Technologies developed for games become military applications. Strategies created for entertainment become real tactical doctrine. Fiction becomes reality. But the most terrifying revelation was yet to come. Show them the expansion projections, the Admiral ordered. The display revealed humanity's plans for space colonization, but now with full understanding of what those plans meant. Every proposed colony ship could transport thousands of highly trained warriors. Every mining operation could support military infrastructure. Every exploration mission could establish forward military bases. Within 50 years, they'll have military outposts throughout this solar system, Admiral Zixthera said. Within a century, they'll begin expanding to nearby star systems. And everywhere they go, they'll bring their war culture with them. Commander, Velkoth stepped forward. Admiral, what are your orders? Admiral Zixthera turned back to the view screen showing Earth. Such a beautiful world, blue and green and alive. But now she saw it for what it truly was. The most dangerous military academy in the galaxy, producing billions of warriors who thought they were just having fun. We have 3 options, she said finally. We can attack now, hoping to destroy them before they become truly dangerous. We can withdraw and hope they never discover us. Or, she paused, considering the third option that had been growing in her mind. Or we can try to understand them better. Because if there's one thing worse than having humans as enemies, the Admiral's 6 eyes reflected the blue light of Earth as she finished her thought. It's having to face whatever made them this way. Chapter 4. The Discovery Admiral Zixthera had made her decision, but it was unlike any command decision in Kethmoran military history. Instead of attack or retreat, she chose investigation. For the first time in 3 centuries of conquest, she needed to understand her enemy before engaging them. Commander Velkoth, she ordered, I want deep scan analysis of their historical development. I need to know why they became this way. What they discovered would haunt the Kethmoran Empire forever. The Eternal Dominions. Most advanced AI systems began processing human historical data, tracing the development of their warrior culture back through millennia. What emerged was a pattern so disturbing that it challenged everything the Kethmoran understood about civilization. Admiral, Chief Science Officer Morgeth reported, his voice shaking. The analysis is complete. You need to see this. The main display showed Earth's timeline, but now with full context. The planet's history was a continuous cycle of conflict, innovation, and adaptation. But it wasn't random violence. It was systematic evolution. Show me the pattern, Admiral Zixthera commanded. The display highlighted key moments in human development. The discovery of fire used first as a weapon, the development of agriculture to support larger armies, the invention of writing to record military strategies, the creation of mathematics to calculate ballistics. Every major human advancement has been driven by military necessity, Morgeth explained. But that's not the disturbing part, Admiral. Continue. The disturbing part is what drove the military necessity. The display zoomed in on Earth's geography, showing continents separated by vast oceans, mountain ranges creating natural barriers, and climates that varied from Arctic to tropical across relatively short distances. Earth is perfectly designed to create conflict, Morgeth continued. The planet itself forced humans to develop as warriors. Separated populations competed for resources, environmental challenges required adaptation, and geographic barriers created distinct cultures that inevitably clashed. Admiral Zixathera studied the data with growing unease. You're saying the planet made them this way? Not just the planet, Admiral. The entire system. The display expanded to show Earth's moon, unusually large for a planet of Earth's size, creating massive tidal forces that shaped early human development. It showed the planet's orbit, tilted just enough to create seasons that forced early humans to plan ahead and compete for scarce resources. Their moon creates tides that made early humans master maritime warfare. Their seasons forced them to develop logistics and resource management. Their diverse geography created dozens of distinct fighting styles and tactical approaches. But the revelation that truly shook Admiral Zixathera came next. Show her the extinction analysis, Commander Velkoth said quietly. The display revealed Earth's history of mass extinctions, massive die-offs that occurred regularly throughout the planet's history. Ice ages, asteroid impacts, volcanic eruptions, climate shifts that wiped out entire species. Humans evolved on a planet that regularly attempts to kill everything on it, Morgeth explained. They're the survivors of countless extinction events. Natural selection didn't just favor the strong. It favored the adaptable, the innovative, the ones who could fight back against impossible odds. Admiral Zixathera felt her exoskeleton go cold. How many times? At least 5 major extinction events that we can detect, Admiral. Each one killing 70–90% of all life on the planet. Humans are the descendants of creatures that survived planetary apocalypses. The implications were staggering. Humans hadn't chosen to become warriors. They were literally bred for warfare by their own planet. But there's more, Admiral, Velkoth said. Show her the current analysis. The display shifted to present-day Earth, showing climate change, resource depletion, and environmental challenges. But instead of succumbing to these threats, humans were adapting, innovating, and overcoming them through the same methods they'd always used: cooperation, strategic thinking, and technological innovation. They're currently facing another potential extinction event, Morgeth reported. Their response is to prepare for space colonization. They're planning to survive by spreading to other worlds. Admiral Zixathera realized the full scope of what they were dealing with. They're not just warriors, they're survivors. Planet killers couldn't stop them. Admiral, Commander Velkoth said, his voice barely audible. There's one more thing. The display showed Jake Morrison again, but now with full context. He wasn't just a teenager playing games. He was part of a generation that had grown up with global communication, unlimited access to information, and collaborative tools that connected billions of minds. This generation of humans is more connected, more informed, and more capable than any in their history, Velkoth explained. They can coordinate globally in real time, share innovations instantly, and adapt to new challenges faster than any previous human generation. And they've been trained from childhood to think strategically, work in teams, and overcome impossible odds, Morgeth added, all while thinking it's entertainment. Admiral Zixathera walked to the view screen and placed one of her 4 hands against the transparent aluminum. Earth hung before her, beautiful and terrible. How long do we have? She asked. Before they develop interstellar capability, approximately 30 to 50 years depending on their rate of advancement. Before they become a threat to the Empire? Morgeth and Velkoth exchanged glances. Admiral, Morgeth said finally, they're already a threat to the Empire. They just don't know it yet. Admiral Zixathera made the hardest decision of her career. She opened a communication channel to Keth Moran High Command. This is Admiral Zixthara aboard the Eternal Dominion. I am requesting immediate recall to home space for emergency consultation with the Imperial Council. Admiral? Commander Velkoth was confused. We're withdrawing? No, Commander. We're warning the Empire. She turned to face her bridge crew, her 6 eyes reflecting the determination that had made her the Empire's most successful conqueror. Gentlemen, we have discovered something unprecedented in galactic history. A species that has been forged by their own planet into perfect warriors, and they don't even realize it. A civilization that has turned warfare into entertainment and entertainment into training. A people who have survived multiple extinction events and emerged stronger each time. She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. We are not going to conquer Earth. We are going to prepare the Empire for the day when Earth decides to conquer us. But as the Eternal Dominion prepared to leave Earth's solar system, Admiral Zixthara made one final observation. She watched Jake Morrison complete another game, celebrating with his teammates as they achieved victory against impossible odds. The human was smiling, laughing, having fun. And that, Admiral Zixthara realized, was the most terrifying thing of all humans didn't just fight to survive. They fought because they enjoyed it. Epilogue. The Warning 6. Months after the Eternal Dominion returned to Kethmaran space, Admiral Zixthara stood before the Imperial Council in the great crystalline halls of the homeworld. The most powerful beings in the Empire listened in stunned silence as she delivered her report. Honorable Councilors, she concluded, I recommend we classify the Sol system as a Level X threat and establish a quarantine zone of no less than 50 light-years radius. Under no circumstances should any Kethmaran vessel approach that system. Supreme. Chancellor Morthak, his ancient carapace gleaming in the chamber's bioluminescent light, leaned forward. Admiral, you're asking us to fear a species that hasn't even achieved interstellar flight. With respect, Supreme Chancellor, I'm asking you to respect them. Explain the distinction. Admiral Zixthara activated her personal display, showing the assembled council what she had witnessed. Jake Morrison appeared in holographic form, engaged in one of his gaming sessions, but now the counselors could see what she saw: tactical brilliance, strategic innovation, and adaptive thinking that surpassed their own military leaders. This human juvenile displays combat instincts superior to our academy graduates, she explained. And he represents one of billions. Their entire species has been unknowingly trained for warfare by turning conflict into entertainment. The chamber erupted in discussion, but Supreme Chancellor Morthak raised the appendage for silence. Even if what you say is true, Admiral, they remain confined to a single world. How could they possibly threaten an empire that spans 300 systems? Admiral Zixthara had prepared for this question. Supreme Chancellor, our empire spans 300 systems, but we rule through superior technology and coordinated military force. We conquered primitive worlds that fought with spears and simple firearms. She paused, ensuring she had their full attention. The humans have developed nuclear weapons, advanced computing, global communications, and sophisticated manufacturing. Most importantly, they've developed something we've never encountered: a culture that treats warfare as the highest form of art. The display showed compilation footage from human entertainment, massive space battles, strategic campaigns, individual heroism against impossible odds, and scenarios depicting the defeat of alien empires remarkably similar to the Kethmoran. They've been preparing to fight us for decades, Supreme Chancellor. They just didn't know we existed. But the most disturbing revelation came when Admiral Zixthara showed them humanity's plans for space expansion. Within 50 years, they will have colonies throughout their solar system. Within a century, they will develop interstellar capability. And when they do, they won't expand like explorers seeking new worlds. She changed the display to show human strategic doctrine, their approach to resource acquisition, and their methods of dealing with potential threats. They will expand like conquerors, Supreme Chancellor, because that's what their planet taught them to be. The chamber fell silent as the counselors absorbed the implications. What do you recommend, Admiral? Supreme Chancellor Morthak asked finally. We prepare, Supreme Chancellor. We study them from a safe distance. We develop countermeasures for their tactics, and we hope that when first contact inevitably occurs, we can approach them as equals rather than conquerors. And if diplomatic contact fails? Admiral Zixathera's 6 eyes reflected the chamber's ethereal light as she delivered her final assessment. Then we surrender, Supreme Chancellor, because fighting a species that has turned warfare into their dominant art form would be suicide. The Supreme Chancellor was quiet for a long moment. Your recommendations are noted, Admiral. This session is classified at the highest level. Council members will not discuss these findings outside this chamber. As the councilors filed out, Admiral Zixathera remained behind. Through the crystalline walls, she could see the stars that marked the boundaries of the Kethmoran Empire. Somewhere among those distant lights was a small yellow star with a blue-green world orbiting it. On that world, billions of humans continued their daily lives, unaware that they had been discovered by an alien empire. Unaware that their entertainment had been mistaken for military training. Unaware that their creativity and strategic thinking had terrified creatures that had conquered hundreds of worlds. Jake Morrison was probably at his computer right now, playing another game, laughing with his friends, developing skills that would one day reshape the galaxy. Admiral Zixathera smiled grimly. The humans thought they were just having fun. The galaxy would never be the same. Back on Earth, Jake Morrison achieved another victory in his latest game, his tactical innovations once again demonstrating the creative problem-solving that had so impressed alien observers. He had no idea that his gaming session had been watched by creatures from across the galaxy, or that his strategic decisions had influenced imperial policy for a spacefaring civilization. He was simply doing what humans had always done, turning conflict into entertainment, challenge into pleasure, and warfare into art. And somewhere in the vast darkness between stars, Admiral Zixathera's warning echoed through Kethmoran space. Humanity was coming. The question wasn't if they would reach the stars. The question was whether the galaxy would survive when they did. End of transmission. Earth date, June 1, 2025. Status, monitoring continues.